With more than 13 years walking this sphere with one foot in and the other foot out of how the masses perceive reality, comprehending exactly how the tarot facilitated my translation has required much imagination, because imagination is the only place the real answers lie. In my imaginings, I traveled all the way back to the last great reset some 5,000 or 6,000 years ago, when civilization seemingly sprang up all of a sudden, some people having more access to technology than others, at least an understanding of it anyway. Smart bets are on a global flood being the cause of the last great memory wipe of mankind, but who really knows? Regardless of what it was, as always, it was up to the pneumatics to hold and carry the gnosis from the prior epoch and transmit it to those seeking it on the other side of the great cataclysm. From ancient Egypt, I can see the string of vagabonds traveling from lands forever changed into new ones, shuffling their computer codes along the way into Europe, England, and Ireland, convincing inquisitive Hylics it was just a card game. What were these computer codes the gypsies embedded in the tarot? What purpose did their program execute when in the hands of a skillful reader? In my imaginings, it was to unlock memory on the collective level just as much as on the individual level. If the mind under the pressure of trauma shatters like glass into multiple compartmentalized shards, then surely the collective consciousness of a species or more would do the same after a global trauma. Identity and memory are slippery things after having been fractured, and from what I can tell, the purpose of the tarot, as code, is to reassemble that which was compartmentalized inside the mind. All the king's horses and all the king's men might not have been able to do it, but perhaps an occultist with a mean shuffle has a chance of putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. So, from what I can see, tarot, when used properly and with adequate gnosis, fires and wires neural connections in the brain which open up memory even down to the epigenetic level, which, if you think about it, could explain why a lot of people who utilize tarot are also familiar with and convinced of past lives and reincarnation. For those of you familiar with Assassin's Creed, this is a pretty easy concept to get your head around. If a person is the culmination of all the data collected from their ancestors, then accessing memories from those ancestors is just a matter of flipping some switches in the DNA, which could convince a person to experience the surfacing of those memories as a past life, rather than pulling up a file in the vast library of their genetic code. Then again, perhaps both possibilities are true, but I digress. In short, my experience and imaginings have brought me to the tentative conclusion that the technology of tarot is capable of both unlocking data in a genetic memory as well as locking data out, and we know how critical memory is to identity itself. Remember, Odin had two crows of wisdom and memory, giving preference to the latter. These are key components to godhood, one might conclude. Is the technology of tarot capable of more than opening and closing the doors to memory? Probably so. If the codification of symbols within tarot are able to physically manipulate a brain to dramatically affect how an individual perceives themselves and the reality they exist in via memory, surely it can fuck about with other aspects of the mind while in there. While it is beyond me, I do also believe that even the dimensions of 3 inches by 5 inches in their presentation plays a key role, but wouldn't presume to tell you why. I just have an unction that there is a deliberate purpose to such powerful technology being displayed in those dimensions, in both a deck of well-made tarot cards and the majority of smartphones. Even the interaction of swiping a set of symbols away from one's field of view is the same when you think about it.
For the full transmission, including exclusive articles, videos, podcasts, and commentary you won't find on social media, visit downloadedcontent.com. While you're there, be sure to join the DLC newsletter so you never miss new releases, exclusive content, or future transmissions. And if you're fascinated by the mysteries of Genesis 6, the Watchers, the Nephilim, and the Book of Enoch, be sure to check out Then Came the Flood by Daniel Louis Crumpton, a novel that reimagines the world before the flood and brings one of humanity's oldest mysteries to life. Available now wherever books are sold. Downloadedcontent.com, where pneumatics go to play.